Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Boku no Hero Academia Season 3 Episode 22. This one is up a bit late. Sorry about that, it's just been kind of a hectic time. So either way, let's just start talking about the episode and go through it and stuff. So we're starting out with the exam results. So we see that everyone except for, well, everyone important except for Todoroki, Bakugo, everyone important from our group except for Todoroki and Bakugo, and also from the other group, Yoarash, has passed. So that's great for development for all of those characters. Each of them have reasons that it makes sense, and it can be something that allows their character to improve on the mistakes and the drawbacks that they have right now. It also explains some stuff from the opening. Like at the very end, how everyone's facing forward, but Bakugo and Todoroki are facing backwards, and also something that I misinterpreted when first watching, and a bunch of other people did too. At the very beginning, when everybody's up in the air, it seems like some kind of scary quirk is holding them up in the air, but then it didn't take me too long to notice that they're all smiling and stuff, so it's everybody jumping up into the air celebrating, and then the two that are on the ground while everybody else is jumping into the air celebrating are Todoroki and Bakugo. So we see that those two are, from the very beginning, it was kind of spoiled by the opening, if you could get the kind of very over-the-top symbolism they were going with, that those two were going to be the two to fail. So Yoarashi apologizes to Todoroki, which is great, but again, it was good that all this happened for this arc, because Todoroki brings up that he needed the confrontation. He needed somebody to bring this to him for him to grow and move past it. Also, the test, we get an explanation, is absolutely genius. So they were weeding them down to 100, but once they got to those 100, they were planning to raise them into proper heroes. So the ones that were already good enough and passed this test can go ahead and start working as heroes without the permission of real pro heroes. But the ones who didn't pass can take a 3-month course to sort of, again, be raised up to a level maybe even higher than the ones that passed, and then get their license after individual testing. So again, it's genius that their plan was to take the 100 most promising and then make them into the heroes they want to be. So again, it's great. It's a good, intelligent way to raise the level of heroes in society. So yeah, what they're allowed to do now if they have the license is they can act in emergencies without permission, whereas before they needed permission from heroes, and that was kind of a topic that got a little messy during the Stain arc and again during the camp, so we won't have to worry about that anymore. So Yoarash then, I love when they're all outside. We have this quick little thing between Miss Joke and Aizawa where they say they're going to eventually have a joint training thing, which I'd be excited to see. And then Yoarash apologizes for still not liking Todoroki. Basically, see you at the special lessons. I still don't like you though, so sorry in advance. So Yoarash is great, one of my favorite characters. Izuku then asks Mora about Kami, and turns out that Kami was Toga the whole time. Toga's a shapeshifter, and that makes so much about what we've seen of her so far in the series make sense. Not only like whose blood she had and who she turned into, but also the fact that from the very beginning when we're first introduced, she says that she wants to kill Stain and she wants to become Stain. That doesn't make any sense until you realize if she killed him and took all of his blood, she could just become him. So that's kind of, and then when she has her talk with Uraraka, and she's saying, don't you just love someone so much that you want to eventually become them? And she also loves cutting people up and making them bleed, and she ends up killing everyone she loves. So yeah, that's basically it. She kills everyone and becomes them. Then she reveals that she has Izuku's blood, which many problems can come from. They could find some way to isolate whatever it is that causes One for All within it. Toga could use it to transform into Izuku and get very close to All Might, or basically anyone else in UA. So there's a lot that can be done by the villains using Izuku's blood. Then we have All for One and All Might, and it was so good because of All For One's voice acting. It was so good. He was just like, it was like he was so happy, having so much fun talking to him, and it was so well done. And he just constantly finds a way to rile All Might up, and it's so good. And his motivation, I can tell you now that this is his actual motivation. That's not really spoilerish. He said it himself that it's his motivation. I'm just confirming that it's true. His motivation was that he just wanted to be the Demon King. He wanted to be the Demon King in this story, just like All Might wanted to be a hero. So, it's so simple, but something that somebody that is viewing things from a perspective of wanting to be good just won't understand. And he brings that up. Some people just don't understand each other. I wanted to be a Demon King, and I had a bunch of power that could make me a Demon King. So that was pretty much All For One's plan. And then he says, it was like my passion was infinite and I could do whatever I wanted, and then you showed up and you were strong enough to take me down, so that kind of made me think I need to pass things on like everybody else did. But the only thing with that is he really seems like he doesn't have this special connection to Shigaraki himself. And also, All For One really seems like he wants to be the Demon King. So I feel like he's just too egotistical for this. Like, it seems weird in general for a villain to be okay passing their dream off to the next villain, but especially with All For One, he seems like the thing he would most want to do probably is to betray Shigaraki and use some kind of quirk to take over his body. With all the quirks he's seen, there has to be one that allows him to take over someone's body, you would think. So that's where I think things could go here, but we'll have to see how things work out. So then, what is next? All Might refuses to die, which is normally a horrible, horrible sign. So hopefully it won't be, but that is a horrible sign. And then secondly, they skipped a scene from the manga, and ordinarily, it depends. If it's something I think they're going to animate later, I won't bring it up, I won't talk about it, but this is something that I'm like 99.9999% sure they're not going to put in the anime. Because they still did the scene, they just did it differently. So after All Might talks to All For One, and I brought this up earlier in the season, that when All For One is being carted through the prison and he gives his "Your Next" speech, something that was in the manga is he passes by a cell that has Stain in it, and he also mentions that all the infrared lasers and everything are blocking his ability to see because he sees using infrared or thermal vision. So there is that they left out earlier, and this ties into that, where the scene where All Might and Tsukauchi are going down the road and All Might looks at his phone and sees the message from Izuku. Before that in the manga, the two of them talk back and forth about sort of the information they tried to give, just briefly, and Tsukauchi says he wasn't able to take notes during his meeting with Stain, so we know that while All Might was talking to All For One right there, Tsukauchi was talking to Stain. So they left out a bit of that, and I feel like it deepens the investigation storyline of Tsukauchi and All Might. So I feel like leaving that out, I didn't really like that. And like I said, normally I wouldn't have brought it up, but they're not going to add it in anywhere. If they didn't show it in the actual scene it happens, they're not really going to have that. I just think that was something extra for the characters and for the storyline that was left out for no real good reason. I don't know why they've left out both of these Stain-related things. But both of them seem important to the characters, like All Might and All For One, and Tsukauchi as well. So, I don't get it. Then next up, Izuku and Katsuki have their talk. I loved the flashback to their childhood, like when they're walking and Izuku's following Bakugo, and it's just like when they were kids. That I love. They go to Ground Beta, which is the first place where they fought. Bakugo has put everything together, obviously, he's a smart guy. And next week, we're getting either my favorite or second favorite, I'm not sure where I'd rank it, fight from the manga. So from the preview we see that that's happening. and I am so excited. I really hope they handle it as well as they handled All Might versus All for One or Izuku versus Muscular earlier in this season. I'm nervous about it. I really hope they handle it well because, like I said, it's either my first or second favorite fight. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous about how they'll handle it. But I loved everything about this episode except for them skipping things. Also, they skipped an entire chapter from the manga that happens between the Toga stuff and the conversation between All Might and All for One, but I think they are going to animate that later. And since I think they're animating that later, I'm not going to bring up anything about it. But yeah, I loved everything except for them skipping things, and it's no big deal that they skipped that because they can just show it in like episode 24 or 25 maybe. Depending on how long this fight goes in the anime. But yeah, so everything except them skipping things was amazing. There was great character work with those conversations between, say, well, we got character work for a whole ton of different characters, but especially with those conversations between Todoroki and Anasa, between All for One and All Might, and between Izuku and Katsuki. The voice acting was amazing. Bakugo's was great. Izuku's is always really good. And All for One's was really maybe the top for the episode for me. And then, yeah, next week I'm incredibly excited, but a little bit nervous for how they'll adapt it. And as a score, this was really great. But like I said, there were some things like them skipping over that scene in the car that had me a little eh. So I'll give it close to a perfect score because it was amazing when it comes to hype and feels and character development. So I'd give it 9 out of 10. 9 character conversations? Ooh, that's terrible. 9 personal talks? Ooh, I don't know. Just 9 out of 10. So either way, like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Boku no Hero Academia, both anime and manga. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want to talk to me or others on Discord, just ask and I'll give you a link to the Discord server. It's freedom for anyone. So that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.